Okay, so I'm pulling some cards to find out a little bit more about a situation you've been through and why did you go through that situation. So this is a closure reading, just to tie things up and kind of move on and just to have a little bit more clarity. So think of whatever situation you've been through or get closure on right now. Something coming to an end with this Tower card. Something crashing down possibly. Maybe something you had your hopes set on was uh, maybe ruined in some way, or you felt like it was ruined. So I want to find out more about this. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did this Tower moment happen? Okay, you have the Hanged Man and Ace of Wands in reverse. So it seems like you something, and this is the way things ended. Like you set out on a journey to do something, and the reason why this Tower moment happened for you is meant for you to see the situation from a different perspective. I feel like it's a lot bigger than it seems right now. Like it could be one situation that seems like it failed or ended miserably, but I feel like it's meant to kind of pan out and look at this whole situation from a wider lens. And maybe this Tower moment was meant to happen so that you can see that whatever it was you were after isn't meant for you. And maybe you were going after something that was going to cause more heartache and trauma in the long run. Okay. This Tower moment is saving you from a bigger issue that you might not have been able to recover from. Somebody might have came into your life and made some promises to you that didn't pan out. Like they were kind of like creating this illusion for you, or almost making you delusional by trusting in them. And I feel like that's what was leading to nowhere the more you fed into their energy. But at the same time, them coming in and showing you who they put you on the right track. Because I feel like you might have been lost, but you didn't realize it because you were so determined to find this sun that looks like you were following, the light, but it led you through all types of darkness. This Eight of Pentacles is like you were just so focused on your work and accomplishing your goal that you didn't realize exactly where this job was taking you. It might have been making things more chaotic for you. Okay, so let's find out a little bit more about. And it also seems like what you're benefiting from this, you might not be able to put your finger on it because it's not time for you to cash in. Maybe if you knew exactly what you gained from this situation, you'd want to cash in on it. But I feel like it's time to wait. So you have the Nine of Cups in reverse, which represents unhappiness. Somebody's feeling disappointed about something. Whatever I feel like this disappointment is, because it's representing the delusions, it seems like it was never going to happen. It's not like you're really missing out on anything because this person was making promises that they could not keep. They were trying to hurt your feelings. And it seems like you dodged a bullet with this person, because you weren't as invested in the problem as much as they were. I feel like, and possibly because you knew that they were full of it. So whenever they really did try to pull the rug from under your feet with this tower, you were already stable, but also flexible and willing to adapt to the situation very quickly. So you were able to get out of the way. And they end up hurting themselves in the long run because it took way more force for them to attack you or try to attack you than it did for you to just avoid their attacks. This person came into your life for a reason. And maybe you didn't know that you needed this person to set things straight because you were so determined to be strong and maybe not even admit that you needed help in the first place. And I feel like there's going to definitely, whereas though you get back on track, maybe it's like going back to a place where you felt comfortable and secure. This person could have came from your past. Like you might not have wanted to change in this situation. Like you didn't want to go back to the past. And this person just momentarily caused you to look back in that direction and realizing that you do have options in either direction. You don't have to be frozen in place and stuck. It just seems like someone is unable to move forward and they refuse to go backwards with this Ace of Wands. But now you realize that you do have more flexibility. Okay. You have more options than you realized or that you were willing to admit. And also something about pride, like somebody's pride is coming down again with the Six of Cups. Like this person from the past could have been a toxic individual, somebody that you cut off, or maybe you felt like they didn't have enough to support you, or you guys just weren't thinking on the same page. But now it seems like even if this was your former self or old way of thinking, you do have some good you have some good points, or this person has some good points. Maybe you don't have to follow them word for word, but there is something valuable about their message, whatever it is that they came to you, this offering that they're offering you here with the Six of Cups. And then Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, like this person made so many promises that it got you thinking in a different way. Like maybe you are capable of having all of this that was offered to you. And once you start thinking about this for yourself and it's something that you now want and you're interested in, you can actually go and get it. So for somebody, I feel like they went through a really long traumatic situation, trying to figure themselves out, maybe even taking a break from school or going cross country or something. And maybe it was a really hectic traveling experience that really ended up just bringing you back home. For some people, or in some ways, this can be seen as you kind of going off on a tangent just to come back home and realize that, okay, now you actually have something to work with. Before you might have just been going off of, I want to say going off out of thin air, or like driving on E. Maybe you didn't have your own energy and you learn how to cultivate your own energy because everything that was coming towards you was something that was just not good enough for you. Maybe you criticized people in the past for the way they were able to indulge in their happiness. And it might have made you feel like they weren't working as hard as you and you had to work harder to prove yourself. You worked you now know that you work very hard, even if you don't see the results, you don't see the fruits of your labor. Is now you understand it's not just about working hard. You do have to enjoy yourself as well. And with this death card, I feel like it's coming in for someone who is being too nice and not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings. Well, you now see that people are willing to hurt your feelings if you give them the chance. But you're much too strong for that. And also, I feel like that's just a psychological issue that you don't experience within this energy. I'm not feeling like anyone who. I don't feel like this is for anybody who has a sense of emotional insecurities. Like, I feel like you definitely know what you want, and this could even be Capricorn energy. I'm seeing Taurus here, Gemini, Virgo. But what I'm getting at is that somebody is very secure, and when things don't work out for you, you know that it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. And you can definitely put two and two together and get back on your feet, whatever this situation is, whatever this tower moment came in and broke up for you. It was like it needed to be broken up. I'm seeing something being broken up in a relationship, and also something about muscles. Like somebody had to go to a chiropractor and get a knot broken up or something because they were just too tense. But something happened for you to have to let go. Yeah, like somebody gave you something that was so toxic. This could be an STD as well, where you just, for once in your life, had to let go of this thing. Because maybe before this situation happened, everything in your life you were very grateful for and you appreciated, even the small things you valued. But then finally someone came into your life and gave you something that you could not hold on to. I'm also feeling something about a miscarriage for some people. I don't know too much about that energy, but it just feels like you let go of something that was not meant for you to have. Maybe this was a career that you weren't really comfortable with, but you had set your hopes on doing it. Yeah, like this was like a toxic job or a toxic career that you felt like you were so tough emotionally that you could handle it. But it's just like in the long run, this really is not good enough for you. And this whole situation that you've been through was just to show you very clearly that yes, you are capable of doing whatever you put your mind to, but some things are just not meant to be explored. Like somebody got caught up in something poisonous, almost like poison ivy, or someone went into another country and got bit by something, like bit by a spider or a bug or something. And it's like, why did this happen? Because maybe you had to go through something like years and years of treatment and physical therapy. It could be 10 years for some people that you've been going through this, maybe having pain, like muscular pain. But it's like bringing it back to a time before you decided to go off on that trip, or even like a trip that has something to do with narcotics or something, like a mental trip. What was going on before this happened that enticed you to leave? What were you looking for? Queen of Pentacles. It probably has something to do with money. It probably has something to do with a job again. Like you want to experience, or you want it to be taken seriously because you felt like you really had to go through some things in order to speak with that confidence. You got Ace of Wands again. Like you really had big plans and big dreams for yourself that you felt like you wouldn't have been able to accomplish unless you had a sad story, maybe, for some people. Not necessarily a sad story, but an exciting story, an adventure. And somebody was okay with it being, a tearjerker. Like, just to have something to talk about. But maybe at the end of the day, we want to find out, was it worth it? What was the point of it all? Was it worth it? Because now I feel like for somebody, I feel like they can't cry. Like, it's just, you just been through too much to even give yourself that weakness, or like somebody is feeling like it's a weakness to cry. Or if you start, you won't stop. 8 of Swords, like you feel trapped in this strength now. You were doing this to get stronger. I'm seeing a bodybuilder. Like, somebody was doing this to get stronger. But now that you're stronger, it's just like this new level that you have to maintain. This new level of strength and power that you have to maintain. Somebody is really afraid of looking weak, or looking like they lost, or they wasted their time, or, I feel like this is the message here. Like, it's this light is shining so bright right now, and in spite of all of this. And also, I'm seeing a light here with the tower. Is like, you were meant to get shut down. Whoever this was that was climbing this mountain and trying to reach the top, you were meant to get knocked back down. For some people, it was like your place is on the ground. You're meant to be grounded, and you're meant to work amongst the people that you were possibly running away from, or like mount team in some way. The Star in reverse, Ace of Cups, 4 of Cups. Somebody, and then at the same time, I feel like whoever this is, people don't mistake you for being lowly or weak or anything like that. That people look up to you. They know when they see you that you're somebody to be admired and respected. So it's almost like you felt like you didn't deserve that type of attention. Like, you had to go through something in order to be admired and respected. And I feel like that's what put you on this journey. And now it's almost like, it seems like somebody's like, now they really are at the brink of losing it all, or cracking under pressure. Whereas before, they weren't even at risk. Everything was fine. It's like somebody is like, why didn't I just leave well enough alone? And it seems like, like this situation is very dense and compact, because it could be a long period of time that you were going through some things, for it to just be condensed into one point of closure, that you're fine just the way you are. And also, the situation that you went through is fine. It didn't break you. I feel like this is something you couldn't have paid for, this experience, coming out with this type of maturity. You have Queen of the Outsiders. I have arrived. I am where I will always be, in love. Yeah, that makes so much sense for this reading. That you learn to love yourself. And maybe that's what you were struggling with before. Just loving who you are. And also the fact that you are loved. That's part of your identity, that people love you. And you didn't feel like you deserved it at some point, possibly. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. I feel like you started off knowing this information. You knew that you could speak things into existence. You knew that your words had power. Maybe you didn't feel like you deserved that power, or you realized that you really were the one manipulating the situation, and by staying positive, you made sure that the outcome remained positive. I feel like for somebody, it was like, this is too much power for one person to have. Like, you have to go through something to keep you in check, to know that there are worse situations than yours, and there is something to be afraid of. whether it's hitting rock bottom, whether it's losing everything, and whatever the case may be, even if that happens to be your mind, it's like you just really needed to see a threat face to face. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. So it's okay to be angry at this time if that's a feeling that you're feeling. Remorse, regret. But I feel like you let these feelings pass because you're still on top of things. You just can't be knocked off of your podium, because you realize, even with the situation, that whether you put yourself on top or the world puts you on top, that's where you belong. That's where you're going to stay. So it makes sense to get comfortable. Um, yeah. I feel like it's too soon to give up on whatever this dream was that you were chasing. It is part of your passions, and sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down. This is really what's part of that gear as a machine. Like, it's not just steady up. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. You got power. Yeah, I feel like this is your power. This is where your power comes from. Getting back up, even if you fell with this tower moment. To have the audacity to still want this thing that you want, even if it's everything is saying, it's over with. So why did this happen? It's just another notch in your belt to let you know that you are still capable of accomplishing in spite of these failures. Can you see that? In spite of these failures, still capable of achieving your goals. And when you finally do achieve this goal of yours, it'll be that much more sweet. And also, you really got to feel that dopamine. You really got to celebrate when this happens. Celebrate with someone. So at this time, I feel like it's important for you to really collect your soul tribe and your friends, and not isolate yourself too much, because there are other people going through the situation, and somebody to have a drink with, or somebody to go out clubbing with, or something, somebody to laugh and share your joy with, so there's not just the world against you. Even though sometimes it takes that isolation to focus, I feel like it's like now's the time, since for whoever this reading is for, you were knocked back a few pegs. It's like you can absorb that new energy and that feeling of defeat, because maybe you need to go forward thinking, but at the same time take that rest and get back up and keep going.